gul baba, checking.
Jai Shri Ram. So today I would like to speak about glands and their functions, their different types and the classification according to their mode of secretion, their structural classification and functional classification, the different types of glands according to the way they secrete, etc. are going to be explained in this video, whereas I shall make another video to explain the actual function and the complete synthesis of each one of the hormones and the secretions secreted by the particular glands. And those videos will be particular for those glands, whereas this is just an overview to the different types of glands and their physical classification, their mode of secretion, etc. So glands release various types of secretions that are very important. They are macromolecules, and they synthesize them in certain cases and secrete them in many cases, and glands produce and secrete such different macromolecules, hormones, etc. for the benefit of our body. There are various glands in our body. Some are extremely large, some are extremely small, and both, whether small or big, are vitally important for the body. So now we should begin to see the different types of glands. The glands like the sweat pores in our body, the sweat glands in our body, and the sebaceous glands that are present all over our body. Also the glands like the ones that release digestive elements like the liver, etc., and the pancreas, which releases insulin. These are all different types of glands that are working towards the benefit of our body in various ways. So each one of these hormones are vitally important to our body, and any problem to their respective secreting glands would cause problems to the respective parts of the body affected by the same. So we're going to begin with the classification of glands according to the mode of secretion. But one thing is that glands are basically formed by the invagination of epithelial cells. When epithelial cells become functional in secreting hormones and substances, macromolecules, they are glands. So according to the mode of secretion, there are three types of glands. Exocrine glands, which have ducts. So they have certain ducts to carry their hormones to certain target cells. So they are called exocrine cells, glands. And endocrine glands are those which release their hormones into the whole circulatory system, so as to go to all the different target cells and supply their hormones to their respective spots. In the same way, paracrine glands diffuse to the local cells. So the cells near them will just get the hormones that they require. So these are the three different types of glands. One is exocrine, that means the ducts send the hormones through special ducts meant for those particular hormones, whereas in the endocrine glands, the substance is sent directly into the circulatory system to reach the target cells automatically. And the paracrine glands are those which diffuse their substances towards the local cells that are present over there. So it's something like local diffusion. So these are the three different types of cells according to glands, according to the mode of secretion. And now we shall continue to see the mechanism of secretion, classifying glands according to the mechanism of secretion. So glands are all about secretion, their processes in secretion, and the different types of secretion. So mechanism of secretion here is the merocrine gland. There are three types of glands when you classify them under the mechanism of secretion. 1, merocrine gland. 2, apocrine gland. And 3, holocrine gland. Merocrine glands are, for example, simple sweat glands. They release their hormones or their substances by packing them into vesicles that are present in their cells and releasing them through apertures along with the vesicles. So the vesicles diffuse with the cell membrane, and the cell membrane then releases the vesicle out along with the package of the substance present within. and this goes towards the different targets according to the mode of secretion, like for example exocrine, endocrine or paracrine. So an example of this would be the simple sweat glands we have on our skin, on the surface of our skin, which come out. And also second of all, we have apocrine glands. Apocrine glands also send some of their cytoplasm outside with it. It's an apical cytoplasm. Also goes along with the substance. The substance plus the apical cytoplasm go outside, and this is an example of the mammary gland. So some of the cytoplasm is also lost along with it, whereas the holocrine gland is the whole cell disintegrates to release its secretion, to release its substance or hormone or whatever it is. So the sebaceous glands release their substances by disintegrating themselves. Would call it something like suicide bombing, etc. So that's how our body reacts to certain situations. Whereas this is a gland, and we have lysosomes which are called suicide bags in the cells. That's a totally different thing. Over here the cell just disintegrates to release its substances only, and that's called the holocrine gland. So the mucus secretion or the mucus glands, they are sublingual salivary glands. The serous glands or the serum are the parotid salivary glands. These are examples of them. So now we shall see different structures of these glands which are secreting their hormones and substances. For example, this is called a goblet cell. This is a system of secretion, a system of structural application for these cells to release their substances. So the substances are released from a cell in the middle called the goblet cell, whereas there's an epithelial lining on both sides to support the cell, and the cell contents are released outside. In the same way, we have these type of cells. These are called multicellular glands. They're the mucous lining of our stomach, and they also release their substances through secretory vesicles on their upper surface. And our mucous lining in the stomach is a very integral and vital compound for digestion, and without which we cannot digest our food with safety due to the harmful effects of hydrochloric acid that can be very dangerous if not supported by the mucous gland secretions. In the same way, we have these sorts of ducts. For example, simple tubular duct without a duct. So this is a gland without a duct. This is a simple tubular gland without a duct. It just releases its contents directly into the system without having a duct to separately take the substances outside. In the same way, we have simple coiled tubular glands which actually have secretory cells downwards, and the duct is present in the middle, and the secretory cells which are present on both sides of this place start releasing their substances from inside, and it passes through the duct and gets released on the outside, the aperture of the duct. So next we have the simple alveolar glands which have secretory cells on other sides except for one side which has the duct, which is non-secretory. So ducts in all cases contain non-secretory cells. These are non-secretory ducts, and these are the secretory cells. These are the simple tubular glands with ducts. And again we have this double branched gland with a non-secretory duct and a secretory branch present within. And then we have the compound alveolar gland. This is called a simple alveolar gland, whereas it has just few branches and a simple duct to release the contents outside. But here we have the compound alveolar gland, which releases its contents from downwards and with multiple branches. And this has again three types: tubulo-alveolar, tubular and branched tubular. These are branched tubular sections, and branched alveolar sections. These are alveolar sections. So this is major, so if we are supposed to classify it into three major types, it's supposed to be branched alveolar, tubular and branched alveolar, and tubulo-alveolar. So for example, we have the compound tubular gland over here, and this one actually secretes its substances from within and releases it outside. So the alveolar gland is characterized by few branches, and again alveolar type constructions, whereas in the compound tubular gland we have branched sections that are releasing into their respective ducts and that get localized and released at the non-secretory areas or the ducts of the outer aperture. So these are the classifications of the glands. So thank you. Jai Shri Krishna.